Good afternoon. The topic of our presentation today is Django. The presentation will be done by Kaiyue and Tiantian720. Here are the contents of our presentation. We will talk about the introduction, history, installation, models, application, admin, query sites, URLs, views, templates, reference. Django is a web framework. So, what is the web framework? A web application framework is a software framework that is designed to support the development of dynamic websites, web applications, web service, and web resource. When you are building a website, you always need a similar set of components, a way to handle user authentication, like sign up, sign in, sign out, a management panel for the website, forms, a way to upload files, and so on. So people create web framework that give you ready-made components you can use. The framework aims to elevate the overhead associated with common activities performed in the web development. Django is a free and open source web application framework which is written in Python. It provides high-level abstraction of common web development patterns, shortcuts for frequent programming tasks, and clear conventions for how to solve problems. Django was born in the fall of 2003 and was created by a web development team in Lawrence, Kansas. It was named Django in July 2005. For Django installation, you need to install three parts: Python, virtual environment, and Django. Django is written in Python. We need Python to do anything in Django. This is the link to download the Python. So before we install Django, we will get you to install an extremely useful tool to help keep your coding environment tidy on your computer. It's possible to skip this step, but it's highly recommended. Starting with the best possible setup will save you a lot of trouble in the future. The virtual environment is a tool to create an associated Python environment. Virtual environment creates a folder which contains all the necessary executables to use the packages that a Python project would need. So first you use pip to install a virtual environment and create a virtual environment for a project. So to begin use the virtual environment, it needs to be activate. And if you are done working in a virtual environment for the moment, you can deactivate it. Now that you have your virtual environment started, you can install Django using pip. In the console, run this command pip install Django. You will get the following result. Now we are going to create a simple application called blog. So at first, go to the directory you want to create the application and run the following command: Django admin start project my site. You should now have a directory structure which looks like this. In this folder, we have the management.python runs commands associated with our project. And we have the settings.py contains configuration of your website. The urls.py routes request based on URL path. In the case of urls.py, to add routes within our web application as new features are added. The init.py tells Django where a project folder is. The wsgipy is used by a web server to run the Django project. There is a lot of different database software that can store data for the site. We will use the default one, SQLite 3. This is already set up in this part of your My Site settings.py file. A model in Django is a special kind of object. It's saved in a database. A database is a collection of data. This is a place in which you will store information about users. We will be using a SQLite database to store our data. This is a default Django database adapter. You can think of a model in a database as a spreadsheet with columns and rows. To create an application, we need to run the following command in the console. Python manage.py start app blog. You will notice that a new blog directory is created, and it contains a number of files now. Our directory and files in our project should look like this. In a blog folder, it has migration, admin, models, tests, and view. The models.py is the data layer, such as the structure of the database table and how they are queried. The admin.py is the administrative interface. It defines the administrative interface for viewing and updating data for that application. The views.py is the control layer. It defines the program logic for that app, and each one takes an HTTP web request and returns an HTTP response. The test.py is used to test the app. It defines automated tests on the code within that application. The migration holds the migration files. It contains files that automate how database tables are created or changed over time for that app. After creating an application, we also need to tell Django that it should use it. We do that in the file mysite/setting.py. We need to find install apps and add a line contains blog just above. To save time, I have already revised it, so the final product should look like this. Creating a blog post model. In the blog/models.py file, we define all objects called models. This is a place in which we will define our blog post. Let's open a blog/models.py. Remove everything from it and write code like this. So in this file, we have the class post models.model. This line defines our model. It is an object. The class is a special keyword that indicates that we are defining an object. The post is the name of our model. We can give it a different name, but we must avoid special characters and white space. Always start a class name with an uppercase letter. The models.model means that the post is a Django model, so Django knows that it should be saved in the database. Our post model include also title, text, create date, publish date. Here the models.foreign key is a link to another model. The models.char field is how you define text with a limited number of characters. The models.text field is for long text without a limit. Sounds ideal for blog post content, right? So if you want to learn more, you can go to this field, go to this link. The last step here is to add our new model to our database. First, we have to make Django know that we have some changes in our model. Type python manage.py, make migrations block. Django prepared for us a migration file that we have to apply now to our database. Type python manage.py migrate block. Our post model is now in our database. To add, edit, and delete posts we've just modeled, we will use Django admin. Let's open a blog/admin.py file and replace its content like this. As you can see, we import the post model defined in the previous chapter. To make our model visible on the admin page, we need to register the model with admin.site.register. Okay, time to look at our post model. Remember to run Python manage.py run server in the console to run a web server. Then go to the browser and type this address, and you will see the login page. So in order to log in, you need to create a super user which has control over everything on the site. So now we go back to the command line and type python manage.py create super user and press enter. When prompt, type your username, email address, password, and return to your browser. And log in with the super user's username and ID. And now you see the Django admin dashboard. And go to post and add some post. Now we have several posts. So now I want to introduce some functionality about the Django query set. A query set is a list of objects of a given model. It allows to read the data from database, filter it, and order it. If you open a local console and type this command python manage.py shell, the effect should be look like this. We first import model post from blog.models. Then use the second command to display all the posts. Then try to create a new post object in database. Use following command. A big part of query set is an ability to filter them. These commands are examples of filtering objects. Query sets also allow us to order the list of objects. The first command is used to order the post by createDate field. We can also reverse the ordering by adding a dash at the beginning. Now, Kaiyue will introduce the remaining contents.
Now I will introduce Django URLs, views, and templates. A URL is simply a web address. You can see a URL every time you visit a website. Let's go to Django URL file. It's defined under My Site folder. We can see there is a URL patterns. The URL patterns take the path of a request and decide which views should handle the request. Given a request, the URL patterns pass control to the views. URLs.py will define a variable called URLs patterns, which is a list of calls to the URL function. Okay, then how do URLs work in Django? Let's go to URLs.py file again and see what it looks like. As you can see, Django already put something here for us. Here we can see this line. The admin URL, which you visited in previous chapter, is already here. It means that for every URL that starts with admin /Django will find a corresponding view. After a brief introduction to Django URLs, you may want to know how Django matches URLs to views. The answer is regular expression. Here are a list of a subset of rules to regular expression. Now let's go back to the urls.py file. There exists a URL function. The URL function has three parameters. The first parameter is a regular expression like this, and this will be used to match against the request. The second parameter is the view it used to call if there is a match. We can see there is an example I already put here. The second argument is the view to call if there is a match. Lastly, the URL patterns take a name parameter at the end. This will be used in templates, and we will look at this later. And I will introduce the URL pattern procedure. Let's look at the procedure used by URL patterns. It begins at the top. This is a URL patterns procedure. It begins at the top and determines if the first one matches. If there is a match, it will be called the associated view. Otherwise, it will continue into the next pattern. Okay, now let's try to create our first URL. Again, open my site urls.py file, and it should now looks like this. We need to add a line here. Django will now redirect everything that it comes into the localhost 8000 to blocks.urls. Then it is time for us to create the blocks URL .py file. It is under the block folder. We need to add these two lines here, as you can see. Here we are importing Django's functions, URL, and all of the views from blog application. We don't have any yet, but we will get to that in a minute. After that, we add our first URL patterns. As you can see, we are now passing a view called post list to a regular expression. This regular expression will only match an empty string. The last part name equals a post list is the name of the URL that will be used to identify the view. This can be the same as the name of the view, but it can also be something completely different. We will be using the name URLs later in the project, so it is important to name each URL in the app. We should also try to keep the names of URLs unique and easy to remember. We talked a little about view in the URL part. Then what is a view? A view is a place where we put the logic of our application. It will request information from the model you created before and pass it to a template. Our view is defined in the views.py file under the block folder. Let's go to that file and see what's in there. Not too much stuff here, only one line. I already wrote a simple view as an example. As you can see, we created a function def called post list. And it takes a request and return a function render that will render our template post list. Okay, let's see. Then we need to know after we introduce the view, then you must want to know what is a template. A template is a file that we can reuse to represent different information in a consistent format. A Django template format is described in language called HTML. For example, you could use a template to help you write a letter, because although each letter might contain a different message and be addressed to a different person, they will share the same format. Creating a template means creating a template file. The templates are saved in the blog/template/blog directory. So first, we need to create a directory called templates. Here you can see under the blog folder. Then create another directory called blog inside the template folder. Then we need to create a post list HTML file inside the blog templates blog directory. This is our template file. Now we can recall that we have different pieces in place. The post model is defined in the models.py. We have post list in views.py. Here is the post list, and we have already had the template added. Here we can see. But how we will actually make our posts appear in our template HTML template? This is exactly what views are supposed to do: connect models and templates. So we need to go back to the views.py file. In our post list view, we will need to take models we want to display and pass them to the template. In a view, we decide what models will be displayed in a template. So far, our post list view looks like this. I already put some code here to save time. I will introduce the code one by one. Okay, the first, this line here is used to include the model we have written in models.py. Now we want to publish blog posts sort by published date, so we need to add this line. This is a query set we introduced in the former part. You should already be familiar with how query sets work. Please note that we create a variable for our query sets. Posts. Treat this as the name of our query site. From now on, we can refer it by this name, like here we can see. This line here is use the timezone.now function, so we need to add an import for time zone. Here, time zone now. In the render function, we already have parameters with request. Everything we receive from the user via the internet, and a template called postlist.html. The last parameter, which looks like a map, is a place in which we can add some things for the template to use. We need to give them names. It should look like this now. Last, please note that the part before colon is a string, and you need to wrap it with quotes. So finally, our blocks view.py is already here. In HTML, you can't really write Python code because browser don't understand it. So the browser only know HTML. We know that HTML is rather static, while Python is much more dynamic. So Django templates allows us to transfer Python-like things into HTML, so you can build a dynamic website faster and easier. Then I will introduce template tags. Here are the template tag syntax for template. The template has three pieces. The first one is used when you need to show a variable value. The variable name is inside of double curly braces. Template tag is enclosed in curly braces with percent and are used for loops, ifs, structural elements, and some other things. Lastly, a variable can have a pipe character after it to use a template filter. Template filter takes a string as input and returns a string as output, and can be thought of much like the pipe in shell scripting. Now let's go to postlist.html file to see our template. To save time, I already put the code here. If we want to display like the static post we created earlier, you can mix the HTML file and the template text as I do. As we already learned the template syntax, this code is easy to understand. We can display lists with for loops. Everything you put between this for loop will be repeated for every object in the post list. The line break is piping the post's types through a filter to convert line breaks into paragraphs. Then let's see what our website looks like. I will save the files. Okay. Oh, we can see there is error here. Let's find what's the error. Okay. Mm. Oh, I forgot to delete the comments here. So this time maybe it works. Okay, this is our project finally looks like. Um, yes, the blog looks pretty ugly. You can make it more beautiful using CSS. Until now, we have introduced every important part of Django. If you want to learn more, you can go to the Django's official website, djangoproject.com. It has all the things you need of Django. Okay, thank you very much for watching.